Hello and welcome to Two Tiers Deep, the Women's Cricket Weekly Show, with me, Rosa Simpkin.
And me, Chloe Hill.
I'm the journalist working in all the tiers of women's cricket.
And I'm the cricketer currently playing in the game.
We saw a gap in the market, mainly from a Tier 2 coverage perspective. So we thought, why not start a podcast? To start with, we probably should explain something to you, which otherwise, none of this will make any sense. Last year, the ECB announced Project Darwin, a project to hand the game back to the 18 counties, split into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the professional level, consisting of the Blaze, Durham, Essex, Lancashire, Hampshire, Somerset, Surrey, and Warwickshire. I could go into the depths about why the Blaze aren't knots, but we'll leave that for another time.
And Tier 2 counties are made up of Derbyshire, Glamorgan, Gloucestershire, Kent, Leicestershire, Middlesex, Northamptonshire, Sussex, Worcestershire, and Yorkshire.
And then Tier 3 are the national counties.
Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to our leading partner, Her Game 2. Her Game 2 Cricket partnered the Rose Talks Ball podcast and all the branches of the show, including Two Tiers Deep. Her Game 2 aims to spread a message of hope and equality throughout sport. Initially only in football, they have recognised that discrimination towards women and girls in sport is not limited only to football, so they have expanded into other sports, including cricket, where they can support, encourage and inspire women in the game. If you'd like to find out more about the work they are doing, you can find them online through their website, hergame2.co.uk/cricket, or you can find them on social media by searching for Her Game 2 Cricket. Thank you as always to Her Game 2 for their support of the podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Two Tiers Deep. Chloe, how are you? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I guess more cricket. Coming into my last week of pathway coaching matches as well. So finished that this week, which on one hand it's quite nice, but on the other hand it means the cricket season's slowly coming to an end. And then obviously had a game on Monday, Northants against Yorkshire, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But other than that, pretty chilled for the rest of the week. Obviously, from that, the day I'm recording right now on the Friday, I'm travelling to Wales later this evening for our match tomorrow against Glamorgan. So busy weekend ahead. What about yourself?
Actually, surprisingly calm, given it's the cricket season. I think the 100 is coming to its end, which, a relief for every cricket journalist up and down the country. Tier 2 cricket is we know what's going on. We're still on a break from Tier 1 cricket, so it's actually quite nice and peaceful. Obviously, I was at your game on Monday, which we will talk more about in a bit. But should we start by having a look at the action from last weekend?
Perfect. Let's get started. So, looking at the first match of Derbyshire v Leicester, Leicestershire women won that game by 126 runs. Player of the match for that match, we picked 2. So we've gone for Hayley Brown for her maiden century of 103 not out, and Francesca Sweet for 138 off 117. And she's a name that I keep seeing pop up throughout this season with the bat and ball, and certainly noticing her in second 11 cricket as well. The next match was Gloucestershire against Kent, where Gloucestershire won by 6 wickets. And player of the match from this match was Charlie Phillips with figures of 3 for 25 off her 10 overs. And then moving on to my match, which was Northants against Yorkshire. Northants got the win by 6 wickets, which I was out there in the middle with the winning runs, so can't complain. And player of the match, I cannot argue with this, was Beth Ascott for her maiden county 50 as well, and finishing with 86 not out of 91. Do you want to finish off the last 2 matches?
I will indeed. Middlesex beat Sussex by 129 runs. Player of the match for that game had to be Izzy Routledge, 95 at the top of the order and a handy wicket, 1 for 13 from 2. And then Glamorgan absolutely smashed Worcestershire by 10 wickets. Skipper Lauren Parfitt has to be player of the match with 66 not out from 59. And having a look at the table, and we're nearly done. One more game in the group stages. At the top of the table sit Middlesex on 38 points, followed by Glamorgan in second on 33, Chloe's Northants in third on 33. Then there's a bit of a jump to fourth with Yorkshire on 20, in fifth Worcestershire on 20, and now to the teams that are definitely out of contention. In sixth are Gloucestershire on 18. Yeah, they are.
No, Gloucester can still do it. So if
Oh my
results
god,
go,
yeah, they can.
yeah,
Because
if results
both
go
teams.
Gloucestershire's way.
Why can't I do maths? Am I well? Okay, Chloe, you make a great point. I apologise to Gloucestershire. Um, Gloucestershire are still in with an outside chance in sixth on 18 points, and now onto the teams that cannot qualify. Sussex in seventh on 13, Leicestershire in eighth on 10, Kent in ninth on 5, and poor old Derbyshire, they've still not won a game. Who are they playing for their last game of the season, do we know? Can they get a win on the board before the end of the season, or is it unlikely?
They are playing, bear with, Sussex at home. They're finishing their season at the Canter Ground against Sussex. So
You
who
never
knows?
know. I really hope that Derbyshire get a win. Because ahead of the podcast each week, I put, like, throughout the week, I have a piece of paper where I write things down, and I've just got Derby with a sad face, and I really want them. I really want them to win a game. But I think we need to talk about qualification, Chloe, because it's hot at the top.
Yeah, so I think from what we know already, obviously Middlesex have qualified, Glamorgan have qualified, and Northamptonshire have qualified. There is one position left to play, which I guess is between Yorkshire, Worcestershire, and Gloucestershire. I think working out, we know that Northants against Glamorgan tomorrow. That game is basically playing for a home or away semi-final for both teams. And then looking like Middlesex will either be playing Yorkshire, Worcestershire, or Gloucestershire in the other semi-final.
If we're honest, looking at the games that have to be played, it's probably going to be Yorkshire. Worcestershire are facing Middlesex, which, I mean, they've won all their games. It's not going to be an easy battle for them. And Gloucestershire are relying on a couple of results to go their way. But you've qualified, Chloe. You have made it into the semi-finals of the Metrobank One Day Cup League 2.
How exciting. What a move, eh? What a move to make in the middle of the season. But no, all in all, like being with Northants and seeing how we fought back since the T20 break and these 4 matches now, we're on a little winning streak. It's been really positive, and I guess just to see the fight and determination against Yorkshire on Monday was so good to see. Obviously got off to a flying start against Yorkshire. They were 2 down within the first, or in the second over, I should say. But even though they did get a competitive total and it was a quick scoring boundary, we probably and we didn't probably bowl the best that we should have. That run chase was just phenomenal, led by Michaela Kirk, Beth Ascott, and Gemma Marriott.
I mean, I was in attendance. We have some clips that we will insert after this segment from that game. But you look like a real team. I think that's the thing that really stood out to me. Obviously, tier 2, a lot has changed. A lot of personnel in the teams has changed. And it's good to see teams genuinely gelling. And you got to hit the winning runs. You played one of the best shots I've seen all season and one of the most entertaining shots I've seen all season. And you're going to hate me for bringing this up. Oh dear.
What do you mean? It was the best free hit ever.
For those who haven't seen it, Chloe did a full 360 turn. I'm quite impressed you didn't accidentally hit your stumps, actually. You did well.
Look, as soon as they brought third up and that gap was open for me, that shot of a switch hit is on for me to play through that gap. I'd do it 9 times out of 10, and I just decided to chalk it this time. But guess what? Still got a 1, so it was fine. Still got a run.
And you still hit the winning runs. So
yeah. But I mean, I think everyone in the dugout probably wanted me to hit it into the short side of the boundary, but my, I don't know, intrusive thoughts got the better of me, I guess.
oh dear. Might have to find that clip on the live stream. But we also will have to find.
I was going to say there was also that funny. I need to send the video as well of where I nearly thought I was going to fall over the stumps and absolutely decked it onto the floor when I was keeping. The ball went up for a skyer, and I had no clue where it is. Especially, I didn't have the keeping helmet on, so I just had like my normal batting helmet on. Took the stem guard off, and the ball's gone up, and I'm standing up to the stumps of the seamer. I have no clue where the ball's gone, and everyone's like, catch! And I run on the other direction, and then I literally see it last minute, and then trip over my own feet because I thought I was going to fall over the stumps. So that was entertaining as well. What a day. What a day.
What a day. It was a nice little crowd as well. It was quite a loud crowd given how little it was. And I know I'm quite negative about Northants and Tier 2 Finals Day, not a vibe, but I enjoyed the day. It was a good day. 10 out of 10.
It probably helped that the sun was shining and it was just a lovely, lovely warm day and a day to play cricket and win a game of cricket as well.
Shall we have a listen to what we had to say after the game?
Yes.
Chloe, we are at Northampton and you have just absolutely smashed Yorkshire. Do you have any initial thoughts?
What a win. I mean, we had such a good start with the ball and then they had a really good partnership in the middle. So for them even to get anywhere near 260, I think from where we were at the start, I think we're probably disappointed in ourselves, but that wicket was a good wicket to chase on. And we chased that superbly.
There was a lovely stumping from yourself and it was an I don't know if you noticed this, it was an all Central Sparks wicket. Oh, it was Nishi bowling. Sorry to include Rhea in this because she was the one that got out. But how did you find keeping out there today?
No, it was really good to be fair. Like I said, really good wicket. Bit of turn, bit of bounce. Did get hit in the lid by the bounce. But no, really, really good and felt really good with the gloves today. No buys, so can't complain.
And I mean, we have to talk about Beth Ascott because she absolutely smashed it today.
I mean, she was incredible. That's her first county 50 as well. She told me out in the middle at the end, so I'm so proud of her and just seeing how she's developed as a player this year. Saw her over the winter as well, like coaching. But yeah, she was superb. Like controlled that innings, and her and Gemma Marriott to put on a 100 partnership, like I think really set the tone, and you saw how Yorkshire just collapsed and went quiet in the field. So all in all, great win, great day, can't complain. Probably second in the table now still?
Yeah, this win means you're definitely going through to the semi-finals.
Stunning, how exciting.
It's probably likely Yorkshire will be joining you given Worcestershire are facing Middlesex in their final game.
Amazing.
They lost today. But all steam ahead. Looking forward to the finals.
Yeah, and I can't wait to chat more on the pod later this week.
Amazing.
Shall I get Beth quickly?
Yeah, get Beth. Beth absolutely smashed it today. Chloe tells me as well that it was your first county half century. How did you find it out there?
Oh, once I got going, yeah, it felt like the runs were just coming really nicely. Obviously a little bit nervous to start with this side being a tier 1 team next year, but no, I really enjoyed it, and at the end I was just smiling. Even with the dot balls, I was just smiling, so yeah, really good.
How were you feeling at the halfway stage? Were you thinking this is very chaseable, we're in the game here?
I think, yeah, we wanted to get to 200, and then once we'd got there, I think the end was in sight. So I just kept looking at the score. It's definitely on.
This win today means that you've confirmed your space in Tier 2 semi-finals.
Yeah.
You must be excited to be involved in the finals day. Just missed out last time.
Yes, absolutely. I think, especially for our first year, it really means something for everyone in the team. We've all worked really hard for it, and yeah, bring it on.
So one of the parts of the game on Monday that made it particularly unique was that during Yorkshire's fielding innings, we didn't only have one wicketkeeper, not even two, but three players took the gloves. And it was quite disorientating kind of sitting in the crowd and watching this and just seeing the genuine confusion from both the two poor Yorkshire players running drinks who were just trying to follow instructions and also from the fans. And I mean, Chloe, do you want to explain what went on?
Yeah, so basically, Maddie Ward, who's their captain and wicketkeeper, she had the gloves to start with. And Olivia Thomas, who batted exceptionally well for them, apparently picked up a little bit of a niggle during that batting innings. She obviously continued in the field, and I think she bowled 5 or 6 overs, maybe. Can't remember how many. But then she's come off injured. So obviously Maddie Ward, who's can bowl, bat, keep, she does it all, decided to take off the keeping pads and come into the field and bowl. Now, it states in the rules that you can only change the wicketkeeper with a 12er if the wicketkeeper was injured. And because Maddie Ward wasn't injured, you must change the wicketkeeper with someone who's in the playing 11. Now, what Yorkshire did first was originally they had a 12er on the bench who can keep, and she then all of a sudden came on. And then I guess myself being a bit of a cricket badger and the head coach, we spotted that as well, and we were like, that's not right. I guess that's Yorkshire's way of using it as an advantage. And if we're going to follow the rules in Tier 2, you might as well follow it correctly. And then this message was relayed to the third official upstairs, and he went and checked the rules and confirmed that with us as well, and then confirmed it with their head coach, which then meant that they had to switch again to their third wicketkeeper, who was Amelia Oliver, who opened the batting for them, who was a wicketkeeper in their academy. So I'm not too sure why she didn't take the gloves in the first place. Anyway, so yeah, we saw 3 wicketkeepers on one game for them. Just one on our game in our innings.
It was a really odd one, and I think they knew, and we're not going to make any assumptions here, but it was a bit odd that when, first of all, it took them a while to persuade Olivia Thomas to come off the pitch. And she had clearly picked up not a very nice injury. She left the ground in a medical boot. And when they finally got her to come off the pitch, there were 2 sets of wicket-keeping kit brought down to pitch side. Both the 12ers and Amelia Oliver's. Which, a bit of an odd thing to do. And then at drinks, that's when they decided to swap the keepers over. But speaking to Richard Pyra after the game, Yorkshire's head coach, he was saying that they'd asked the umpires and they thought it would be a good opportunity for one of their EPP players to get some experience with the gloves, which is why they brought 12 on. But, we do have rules for a reason in cricket. They're not there for fun. They're there for the integrity of the game. So yeah, it was just a bit baffling, to be honest.
And I think that was just the most confusing part, that the scorers, one of her daughters is in the Northants squad, and the scorers didn't even know that the keepers had changed. So surely the umpires would be telling the scorers that there's been a change if the umpires had agreed to it. So I guess that's just a lot of miscommunication and mismessaging, but the rules are there for a reason. And if Maddie Ward wasn't injured, then the wicketkeeper should be replaced with someone in the playing 11, end of, really.
It's also pretty poor from the umpires, and I find it really difficult to talk about the umpiring in Tier 2 cricket, because obviously we've reached a point where suddenly there's a lot of teams, a lot more games, so a lot of umpires are being promoted up the ranks probably a little bit quicker than they should be. And it's the same in the men's game, actually. It's just how things are now. But how have you not picked up on the fact that the wicketkeeper's changed? It's not something that happens. It's not like when a sub-fielder comes on the pitch, and that's quite sleek. Maddie had to take her pads off and someone else had to put their pads on. It's quite an obvious switch.
And I guess Maddie, being the Yorkshire captain, should have said to the umpires as well, look, I'm going to be switching and we're going to have a different keeper. And if they're confused, did that conversation happen, I guess, or was the switch just made at drinks without any communications? I guess we're speculating here. But there's clearly was a lack of communication between one party or another.
On the note of Yorkshire wicketkeepers, we've got another to talk about, and it's a bit of a controversial topic. Lauren Winfield-Hill, Yorkshire's main club captain. Obviously, Maddie Ward has been captaining a lot this season in her absence because Lauren has been with the Oval Invincibles in the 100. But she is flying off to play in the CPL, the Caribbean Premier League, which runs from the 6th to the 17th of September, which would mean she misses both the semi-finals of the One Day Cup and potentially the finals. How do you feel about this?
I guess I'm in the middle, because realistically, has she played more than half of the matches for Yorkshire this season with her stint to Essex as well? And then obviously in the 100. So realistically, Maddie Ward has been the captain, the keeper, in that position for the season. But also now the 100's finished, she should be returning back to her club that pays her contract. But I guess she's also at a stage in her career where the franchise gigs are there, and they do pay a substantial amount of money to players' contracts nowadays, and they are a factor in players travelling the world and playing in these franchise gigs. But when you know that Yorkshire are likely, or one of the favourites from the games tomorrow, to get to a semi-finals, plus if you do have to stare back, I mean, I've just read an article that she's going back to Warwickshire on Tier 1 duties for the rest of the season. So will they be without Stair Callis and Lauren Winfield-Hill for their semi-final and final? Is that what they're thinking? I don't know.
It's a really difficult one. There's a couple of things that we need to consider. First of all, Lauren, I'm sure, has got permission from Yorkshire to do this. So at the end of the day, they as a club have decided that it's okay. So, for a lot of reasons, that should probably be the end of this conversation, but it isn't. Secondly, as you say, what a lot of people who aren't very closely following the Tier 2 game don't know is Maddie's role this season and how integral, as you say, she's been. And if Lauren came back into the squad, I think it's very unlikely that she would come in as captain, maybe even as keeper. It depends whether they need Maddie to bowl or not, given Liv's injury. But I guess it points to this broader topic of conversation this season, which has been regarding how Yorkshire have handled Tier 2 cricket. And every time you talk to their coaches, etc., they're adamant that our focus is on next season. Our focus is on getting ready for Tier 1 cricket, which you can agree or disagree with, but it therefore makes sense that they're happy to let Lauren go and earn some extra money in the CPL.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they've obviously agreed it from above, from their director of cricket, so they're clearly happy with it. And yeah, I think we've said it most weeks that Maddie's done a fantastic job, captain, wicket keeping, and her batting has improved no end, and she is such an important part to that team now at such a young age. For me, I think I'd like to see Maddie with the gloves and still captaining these semi-finals. I think I got a bit frustrated in the T20 semi-finals when they made the finals and she wasn't keeping and she became a bowling option. For me, I think she's your best keeper, and having your best keeper behind the stumps can ultimately save a game as well by stopping several runs going behind.
She's also handled this season incredibly well, Maddie, because when we think about her kind of career path, she played in that Under-19 World Cup in South Africa. You can tell it happened a while ago because I usually don't have to think about where it was in South Africa. And then she was with Diamonds, and then she made the decision to go to the Blaze. So she went from being secondary to Lauren Winfield-Hill to having about 4 keepers in front of her at the Blaze. And then with this tiered system, she's gone back up to Yorkshire and is suddenly captaining a team. It's it's impressive, especially for such a youngster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know growing up that she played her county cricket at Nottinghamshire, so that might have been her link with the Blaze in the academy. But for her to end up back at Yorkshire now, I think, it's completely the right decision for her cricketing journey, especially of how successful she's been this season. And I guess long may her development keep continuing, and hopefully one day we could maybe see her again representing the England in international kit.
100%. I mean, everyone knows we love Maddie Ward. We don't stop going on about her on this podcast. Chloe, we've actually just stopped recording and you've had a light bulb moment and you've remembered something pretty important and pretty major that we have forgotten to speak about. Trevor Griffin, Somerset head coach, has decided to step down from his role at the end of this season. What was your initial reaction when you saw that announcement?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I think, if I'm being honest, he's probably had a tough gig over coaching in the English domestic setup over the last few years. He obviously coached at Sunrisers in the first few years, and then obviously went over to Western Storm before they changed to Somerset. But let's not forget that he was successful with Western Storm in the KSL days. But I guess he's had a tough few seasons since then.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I, like you, was not at all surprised when I saw the announcement. I think it's important to note that it's a decision he has made, not a decision the club have made. In his statement, he spoke about how a good coach knows when their players need a new leader, and Somerset have reached that point. But yeah, yes, he's a coach who clearly hasn't had a very successful few years, but I think that gig at Somerset was always going to be difficult. And I don't know if this is fair or unfair, but the group of players they brought together is very inexperienced. And there's a lot of players, even on kind of in their 20s, who haven't played professional cricket before. And you're relying on involvement from a Manchester Wellington as your overseas player and a couple of the England players that you're very unlikely to get to actually have a chance to do well. And it feels like that when at the beginning of the season you're looking at the squads, their recruitment was one of the poorest.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think when we certainly looked at the squads at the start of the season, yeah, they definitely hadn't recruited in the most experienced way. And look, I'm all for teams trying to support their up and coming talent they've got in the county, but like we had the conversation about Derbyshire, I think you've got to look at the bigger picture and look to be competitive and try and secure those experienced domestic players and overseas players as well. And obviously it'll be exciting to see who Somerset look to replace as a head coach going forward. And will it be a male or female as well, English or overseas? But all in all, hopefully the new person who comes into position can have a right change up and get Somerset back onto that winning momentum that we know that some of the players in there are capable of doing.
Should we have a quick look at the games ahead? I have not put these on the document. I apologise. I'm finding them as we speak.
So looking at the final group stage fixtures on the 30th of August, we've got Middlesex hosting Worcestershire at Merchant Taylor School, Derbyshire hosting Sussex at the County Ground, Glamorgan hosting Northants at Sophia Gardens in Cardiff that I will be making a drive down to later on this evening. And then over to you.
Cardiff, which I'm not biased, but one of the best places on earth. Kent are playing Yorkshire at the Spitfire Ground in Canterbury, and Leicestershire are playing Gloucestershire, also at the There's a lot of county grounds in cricket, aren't there? In Leicester. Now, Chloe, it's time for your favourite part of the week.
Let's go. Tier 2 team of the week. Now, tell you what, there was some I know last week there was a lot of batters who had such a great day out, but there were so many players this week with the bat and ball that I just couldn't separate. I was like, how am I going to fit this into a playing 11, let alone a 12, having I've got 2 12ers this week. I don't know about you. Shall I start this week or should you? Okay, are we ready? So, this is my tier 2 team of the week. Open the batting. I've got Artemis Downer from Middlesex with another Middlesex opening partner of Izzy Routledge. And I've also put Izzy Routledge as my captain this week because I just think she's had such a phenomenal season with the bat and with the ball. Coming in at number 3 and scoring her maiden 100 was Hayley Brown from Leicestershire. And just a little shout out to her that I know that she lost her dad this year, so that 100 meant so much to her. Coming in at 4, Francesca Sweet, again from Leicestershire with 138. Coming at 5, Beth Ascott from Northants with her 86 not out. And my wicketkeeper coming in at 6 is Jess Hazel from Gloucestershire with 70 not out and taking 3 catches. Coming in at 7, we've got a Derbyshire inclusion this week of Ellie Nightingale scoring 78. Coming in at 8 is Eve Jackson from Glamorgan with figures of 3 for 37. 9, Isabella James from Kent with figures of 2 for 26. 10, I've gone for Jess Woolston from Yorkshire. I haven't wrote down her figures. I have actually 2 for 34 and some late lower order runs coming in at number 10. And 11 is also a fellow Northants player of Bethan Robinson with figures of 4 for 46, and that is her best A-list figures to date. And I've got 2 12ers. I've got Layla Judge with 3 for 39 from Middlesex and Charlie Phillips 3 for 25 from Gloucestershire. And that is my tier 2 team of the week.
Do you know something, Chloe? Last week we had a very similar team of the week, and we've done it again.
No way.
I think there are 2 players in my 11 in your 11 that I haven't included in my 11, but one of them are on my bench. So
Okay.
we're close. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Opening the batting, I've also gone for the Middlesex duo of Artemis Downer and Izzy Routledge, and Izzy Routledge is also my captain. I don't think we've ever had the same captain on the Two Tiers Deep podcast. So there we go. Coming in at 3, one of the players you haven't included, I've got Lauren Parfitt of Glamorgan for her 66 not out from 59. At 4, it had to be Hayley Brown of Leicestershire for that maiden century. And at 5, her Leicestershire partner in Francesca Sweet for also another century, having an absolutely nuts season with bat and ball. I'm lost. 6. Wait, is it? No, it is 6. It is 6. At 6, I've got Beth Ascott, of course, for her 86 not out of Northants. At 7, also my wicketkeeper, Jess Hazel of Gloucestershire. At 8, one of the players on your bench, I've got Charlie Phillips of Gloucestershire for her 3 for 25 from 10. At 9, Jess Woolston of Yorkshire for her 2 for 34, but what edged her was her cheeky little tail end batting performance. At 10, Izzy James of Kent. Really nice to get some Kent representation in there this week. Then at 11, Bethan Robinson of Northants. She had to be, didn't she? 4 wickets. At 12, I've got 2. Ania Patel of Middlesex for 3 for 27. And Eve Jackson of Glamorgan with 3 for 27 from 8. Don't know about you, Chloe, but that seems pretty similar.
Pretty similar again. I think just looking, I think the only 2 teams that I've missed out on, I think, are Sussex and Worcestershire. I think, but like we say every week, we can't include all of the counties in when so many players are having standout performances.
I do want to give a cheeky little shout out to Claire Boycott, who scored 55 not out when Worcestershire only managed like 120 odd. But owing to the game circumstance, she was not making it in this week. That's for sure. Shall we have a whistle stop tour of the 100 Club, because the group stages are over. We're nearly done.
I know, I can't believe it feels like this 100 tournament's gone so quick, but I feel like it's actually been quite a long tournament all in all. And I guess the biggest question is the Eliminator Day and Finals Day going to be rain affected?
I'm going to be fuming if I travel to London on Saturday and it rains. I'm going to make a judgment in the morning. I'm going to make a judgment. But with the group stages being finished, Chloe, do you want to go through the table? I feel like, why not? I say, it is on the document.
Yeah, I didn't scroll down enough. I'm here. Okay. So, is this up to date from yesterday? All the 8? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Perfect. So, at the top of the table, we've got Southern Brave Women winning all 8 matches, and the only team to do that so far across the male and female competition. And they're sitting on 32 points. Our winners' predictions, Northern Supercharge in second place on 24 points. London Spirit in third on 20 points. Trent Rockets in fourth on 16. Manchester Originals on 16. Oval Invincible on 8. Birmingham Phoenix on 8. And Welsh Fire having a very sad season, finishing in 8th place on 4 points. And it's just like it's a full cycle that they've gone back to being bottom of the table after, I guess, 2 exciting seasons where they've been there or thereabouts in the eliminator and looking to try and pinch a spot in the finals day.
What in the Sunrisers / Essex is going on here?
Yeah, literally. It's full cycle of Sunrisers again, all over again.
I mean, we do have to talk about Southern Brave because they have been ridiculous. And I actually predicted them to not do very well this year on a couple of factors. First of all, losing Charlotte Edwards, that's a big adjustment for any team, especially given she's been there since day one. Second of all, a couple of their domestic players, like Tilly Courtney Coleman, who's been very good for them, came into the tournament with not very many overs under their belt and struggling for game time. And I'd also say their squad depth isn't great, but I don't think they've changed their team once, so it has not mattered. I mean, to win 8 from 8 in a franchise tournament is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think they've surprised me as well. I mean, I certainly didn't have them up there to be favourites and to win 8 from 8, but they've just seemed to come together like such a strong unit and absolutely dominate this 100 competition this season. And I guess Lauren Bell is on fire at the moment with the ball, and I think that's so exciting to see, especially going into a World Cup year as well. So for her to finish with those figures yesterday of 4 wickets for 6 runs, I think it's just ridiculous.
She's the comp's top wicket taker, and she's been something else and has probably been what has edged them, really, in this tournament. Obviously, the assist was Sophie Devine, who we spoke about last week, who has also been ridiculous. But they are straight through to the final on Sunday at Lord's. But on Saturday, in theory, we have the eliminator between Northern Superchargers and London Spirit. Who are you backing?
So I guess I've got a loyalty to London Spirit from being in their squad a few years ago. But I also had Northern Superchargers as my winner prediction from the start after just seeing their squads. So I think it's going to be a really exciting match. Let's hope there's no rain affected. Otherwise, that means that Superchargers just go straight through into the final. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going to be a really good match. Like if Grace Harris fires, Kira Chatley's been on fire for the Spirit. But Northern Supercharger with Phoebe Litchfield and Annabelle Sutherland have just been something else. So I guess which team is going to have the overseas fire in, is going to be the team that wins.
One of the Superchargers players I do want to give a bit of a shout out to is one of the domestic players, and that is Lucy Hyam. And I want to give her a shout out because at the beginning of the tournament with Georgia Wareham in the squad, she was playing, but she wasn't not doing anything. She wasn't batting, she wasn't bowling. But since Georgia Wareham has had to go back to Oz due to injury, she's been bowling, and she's been bowling very well, actually. She's been in the wicket, she's been economical.
Yeah, and it's so good to see someone like Lucy stepping up on that platform and performing week in, week out for the Superchargers. And we all know what she's been capable of as a domestic player over the years. She's been unfortunate with injuries over the years, but seeing her back on the pitch this season and being, I guess, such a key member of the team has been, so rewarding to see. And also from the Superchargers, Alice Davison-Richards being promoted to the top of the order, she is having an absolute stellar of a season for the Superchargers. And some of her shots are just, she's playing some proper pretty cricket shots, and they're going to the boundary at a speed. And I guess it's also probably been helpful for Davina Perrin to have someone like ADR with her at the other end, a cool, calm, collected head with such a young, up-and-coming talent who maybe hasn't had the tournament she's wanted to, but we've seen phases of how good she is as such a young cricketer.
100%. And I agree with you. I think, rain or not, Northern Superchargers will be joining the Brave in the I mean, I've got to, haven't I? They're my winners. I can't say they're not going to make the final.
But I guess the biggest argument is, will London Spirit be fighting to be back-to-back champions?
It's very true. And they've got a strong squad. Even with these absences they've had, quite key players, they've smashed it.
Yeah.
It should be interesting.
Yeah, I think that eliminator game is going to be very exciting and hopefully a high-scoring thriller.
Oh, we've had a lot of low-scoring thrillers this tournament, and I'm in need of some runs. Please to the Lord's Grounds team on Sunday as well. And looking at Sunday, obviously we've just said that Northern Superchargers will be joining the Brave. Do you think they have what it takes to overcome this formidable side?
I guess I'm all about momentum, so I'd say that if Northern Superchargers win tomorrow, they'll go into that final with some serious momentum. And obviously Southern Brave played their last game yesterday, so obviously they've got a few days off before the final, so it depends how their prep goes. But I guess Southern Brave have already won it, London Spirit have already won it. Is it time for a new change and a new name on that trophy? And hopefully that is Northern Superchargers as our winning prediction.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I like a bit of an upset, and I think Brave not winning would be an upset because of how formidable that group has been. But we do need to look at the other end of the table, and we do need to talk about Welsh Fire, because they were a team who were in that final last year and very nearly won that final. It was very, very close. Same squad, different head coach, which is important to note, and they are back at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that, because I don't think their batting lineups changed or orders changed much from what it was over the last 2 years. And obviously they were so successful last year, and they had such an exciting season that I guess it's just a little bit disappointing to see how they've gone this season and not put in those performances that we've seen over the years. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we might see a little bit of a mix-up next year in the teams or in the squads. But I'm sure Welsh Fire will be looking to bounce back next season.
They will have the first choice in the draft, so you'd like to think that they can be smart with that. I mean, Birmingham Phoenix, I will never forget when they used their first pick in the draft to pick Amy Jones, who was already playing for them. But if you're smart with it, you have the opportunity to grab a really good player.
100%. I guess we will have a chat next week when we know who is the 100 champion and also who is heading in to the Tier 2 finals day.
And on that note, I think that is all for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you next week when we'll have a lot to discuss.
It's going to be another busy week. Thankfully, I've got a few days off after this weekend, so it'll be nice. Thanks for listening to this week's Two Tiers Deep. If you'd like to find me, Chloe Hill, you can find myself on Instagram with a new Instagram page covering this podcast at Two Tiers Deep CH. Or I'll pass you over Rosa to find herself at
Rosa Talks Ball. Or if you have any questions, you can contact us on rosatalksball@gmail.com. And please don't hesitate to get in touch.